Hello everyone, this is Gary from Fantastic Fundas, and in this lecture I will finish the executive part of the union with you. And in this lecture we'll be studying two things. One is the Attorney General and other is the Comptroller and the Auditor General. Okay, so let's quickly finish the Auditor General first, then I'll talk about the Comptroller and Auditor General. Attorney General, he's appointed by the President of India, okay, and then he is given under article number 76 of the Constitution. He is a person, his qualification is that he should be a person qualified to be a judge of the Supreme Court. That's the minimum qualification, a judge of Supreme Court. Okay, so he should be qualified for that, and he's actually, you know, the topmost government chief legal advisor. Okay, and so he's the chief legal advisor of the government. Chief legal advisor, and then he gives advice to the government upon such legal matters as the government may seek from him. Okay, and he has to perform all of the duties of the legal character. Okay, so he one is the he advises the government, and number two is that all the duties which are of legal character are performed by him. Okay, by legal I mean all those duties which are assigned to him by the President of India. Okay, and then he has to discharge all these functions which the Constitution puts on him, and all the things which other laws put on him. Okay, so that is how it goes, right? And plus then he's got certain privileges also. For example, he has the right of audience in all the courts of India. So he has the right of audience in all the legal law courts of India. Okay, and then which are within the territory of India. And he can, not only this, he can also that is his rights actually, he can take part in the proceedings of the parliament. Okay, but he cannot vote over there. And then he holds office, right? As I told you, he is appointed by the President. He holds office during the pleasure of the President. Whenever there is the pleasure of the President, it clearly means that the Prime Minister will ask the President to appoint this person. Basically it is the executive's prerogative that who should be appointed the President of the country. Okay, and then okay, so that is how it goes. And he can do private practice along with his serving government? Yes, he can do the private practice, but he cannot appear in the cases which are against the government of India. Okay, and the Auditor General of India, he is supported by a person called the Solicitor General. Okay, Solicitor General, right? And additional Solicitor Generals. Okay, there are 4 additional Solicitor General, right? And and there's one Solicitor General, right? And his salary is fixed by the President. Okay, and that's all about the Auditor General of India. Nothing or Attorney General of India. So that's pretty much about it. Pretty simple. Okay, Attorney General and Solicitor General, additional Solicitor General. Article number 76 is there. There's no need to read that. I have just shared everything about him with you. Okay, and then we move to the Comptroller and the Auditor General of India. Okay, so let's do this. This will be a little longer one than the Attorney General. I'll tell you the full detail of it now. Regarding the Attorney General, Comptroller and Auditor General, first of all, why do we have CAG in India? Why is their need of audit? Basically, we know this, that there is a parliamentary supremacy over executive. Parliamentary supremacy. Parliament is supreme, right? Parliament, because executive is responsible to Parliament. So parliamentary supremacy over the executive. Now this is done basically through the audit. Okay, and how it is done, how auditing helps in it? Because auditing helps bring the accountability. That is the very simple thing. Okay, and because the Parliament, this Parliament, they have the what is called as the power of purse. So what do you mean by power of purse? Number one meaning is that you grant the money. Okay, and that is actually the job, grant the money that Parliament controls. Okay, this granting of money, see there are 2 words, Comptroller and Auditor General. Now this is Comptroller. Comptroller means the grant of money, controlling the grant of money. Auditor means after the money has been granted, whether it was spent properly or not. Okay, so that is called the auditing part. Okay, in India, the Comptroller Auditor General only does auditing. He does not perform the role of a controller. He is just doing auditing. It is just a British legacy that we are carrying this word controller with the in the Comptroller and Auditor General. Okay, as such he is not really the controller, but you never know, one day he might be given the powers. Okay, so the origin of the audit actually for the first time in the world, right, it started with Britain, and when the British they introduced there some audit department act that started there in 1866. That was the information I just wanted to share with you. Okay, and then regarding the constitutional and statutory provisions, so there are two kind of provisions you need to know. One which are mentioned in the constitution. Okay, so regarding the controller and auditor general, whatever the constitution संविधान में क्या लिखा है, okay, and then दूसरा है provision जो इससे जुड़े हैं, तो the statutory provision what any act has to say. We'll talk about both first. Let's begin with the constitutional provisions. Article number 148 to article number 151 deal with the controller and auditor general, so that also shows its importance. So many articles for 48, 49, 50, 50 and 4 articles have been given to him in the Constitution of India, which is a big deal because see, imagine that Attorney General had just one article with him. Now this given in the Constitution, but here 4 articles are associated. That shows his importance also in our Constitution. Okay, now there is the Controller Auditor General Act also, okay, which gives the power to CAG to audit all the expenditure from which, so they can audit all the expenditure that is related to the consolidated fund of India, okay, and also the consolidated fund of the states. Right, and this also authorizes CAG to audit the receipts and expenditure of bodies which is substantially financed. We'll talk about this just in a short while. I'm just giving you the introduction of the kind of powers mentioned. Okay. Now article 151 is there, which prescribes the audit report, right? They are given audit report जो होती है under article 151, that is given to the president who causes it to be laid before the parliament. Okay, from the president to the parliament is president lays that report before the parliament, right? Now why is because we know that the institution of CAG is important mainly for the purpose of the accountability, and then when there is accountability there is also development and all those things, okay, for the effective economic and effective functioning, okay, economic, effective and efficient functioning, E3, right, E3 of functioning of the executive. This is important that there is proper auditing. So for the proper auditing, okay, this is about the proper auditing, fair auditing, and for the proper auditing it is important that the CAG remains independent, that the CAG does not become under the influence of any person, okay. Independence of the CAG. So how is the independence of the CAG maintained? That I'll just talk to you now. Okay, let me just list here only what are those things. For example, number 1, he's appointed by the President of India under his hand and seal, and his oath also requires him to uphold the Constitution of India and the laws thereunder. Okay, his oath is also mentioned in the Constitution itself. So that also gives him independence because he's just appointed by the president, but here it is on the pleasure of the president. So that clearly means the Prime Minister gives him advice that this person, executive gives him the advice that this person should be appointed as the President of India. Okay, executive बताएगा ना, pleasure of president है भाई, ठीक है. And then उसके बाद इसका removal is very tough. It's not easy to remove CAG from his office. For example, he can be removed only on the basis of the proven misbehavior. Proven misbehavior. So it's not just allegation here, you have to prove it, or he should have some kind of incapacity. Okay, some kind of incapacity after and obviously this kind of misbehavior incapacity, that is obviously after by both the houses of the parliament, okay, they pass a resolution which is supported by the 2/3 majority. Okay, 2/3 majority. So that kind of removal, it's very, very difficult removal of the Comptroller Auditor General. So okay, so that is number 2. One is related to the appointment. His independence is maintained, and then number 2 his removal, okay, and then number 3 is related to his salary, because his salary and his conditions of service, they cannot be changed to his disadvantage after his appointment, that his salary cannot be decreased after his appointed, though it can be increased. Okay, that also gives him freedom because you cannot change his salary and he will be under no economical burden. Number 4, he cannot be employed further for any office under the government of India, so there cannot be any post-retirement benefits given to him, right? That is clearly laid down, right? Government of India employment, further employment or post-retirement benefits, those cannot be given to him. Post-retirement benefits, right? So further number 5 over here, that comes as his administrative power, okay, and his condition of service in the Indian Audit and Accounts Department, okay, they shall be prescribed by the rules made by the President after consulting the Comptroller or Auditor General, okay. So the President makes rules regarding the administrative power and the conditions of the service, administrative power and his other conditions of service after consulting him, okay. And then finally, to maintain the independence of his office, there is no interference in his office, so that he can do his work properly, so that there can be proper development. The administrative expenses of his office, they are the charged expenditure. The administrative expense is charged on the consolidated fund of India and are not subject to being voted, okay. That is called the charged expenditure. So obviously his expenses assured, he will not be under the pressure that tomorrow this money will not come, how will I do my work, that ways, okay. His money is assured, okay. Now in India, the next topic that I'm going to talk to you is that in India, we have a system of a unitary audit, okay. Though we have a federal setup, but the constitution provides for unitary audit by the CAG, and he conducts the audit account of the why unitary audit, because he's considering auditing for the union also and for the state also, okay. That is why I'm calling it unitary audit, okay. And then what are his audit duties, what all he audits, that I'll now talk to you, okay. Audit duties, his his duties and his powers, okay, let me just write it here, or duties and powers and the conditions of service, all the things have been laid down laid down in what is known as the Comptroller and Auditor General Duties, Powers and Conditions of Service Act of 1971. Okay, that is how it goes. And the statutory the duties of the CAG, will just I'll enlist those duties for you, okay. So what are those duties which the CAG has to perform because of statutory? We have done the constitutional part, now here is the statutory part, the performance of his duty. So the first duty over here is regarding all the receipts and expenditure of the union government and of state government as well. Any of the expenditure that is there, it will be accounted by the which came from the consolidated fund of India, of course, and that will be audited by the CAG. What more, all the transaction which is related to the contingency fund, even that will be audited. Please remember this, okay. And even the public account of India, that will be audited, right. Number 3 is any any government department, okay, which deals in trading, manufacturing, profit, loss or balance sheet and any other subsidiary account, okay, of any government department. So all government departments are audited by the CAG, right. Number 4 is of all the stores and the stocks of the government organizations, government companies, government corporation, whatever is related to government, all the stores and stocks whose statute provides for audit by CAG, okay. The statute provides for audit, statute based. Then number 5 is all the authorities and bodies which are substantially financed, okay, substantially financed from the consolidated fund of India, all those would be audited by CAG. Now what do you mean by substantially financed? That means that at least 25 lakh rupees was financed, and plus second condition is that the loan or the grant which was given, okay, that was at least 75% of the total expenditure of the body, okay. So if it is more more than 25 lakhs and it amounted to 75% of the total, then CAG audits it. That's the typical thing, right. Number 6 is any body authority which is not even substantially financed, okay, not substantially financed, but on the request of the president or the governor, it can be audited by the CAG, okay. And then number 7 is all the bodies or the authorities which receive loan or grant from the government for specific purposes, okay, for specific purpose. This is important, for special purpose. Whenever any body receives a grant loan, that can be audited by the CAG, okay. So And then that's like number 7. Then I'm just writing up over here. Number 8, it is related to whenever there is special arrangement, okay, for the audit of government companies actually. So wherever the government participation is greater than 51%, okay, so I mean is equal to or greater than 51%. So the normally the audit is done by the chartered accountants, but here the chartered accountants in case is more than 51%, the auditors are appointed by the government of India. That is how it goes, okay. And CAG basically gives the direction that this is how you have to audit, right? And then he also has the right to audit of companies and reports and then results to parliament and the state legislature. That is how it goes, okay. And then regarding audit of public sector companies or government public sector undertaking government companies, there is a periodic comprehensive appraisal of their working by the audit board, okay. By the audit board means that is appointed by the CAG only, right? So there are various experts of the various disciplines which are for various PSUs, right? So an audit is done of these companies, and similarly the report is given to the parliament or the state legislature, right? That so all the PSUs are also covered, right? And then number 10 is related to all the autonomous bodies also, even they are covered under the audit by the CAG. Autonomous bodies, you just might get confused over there because they have autonomy, so they might not be covered, but even they are covered under their reports are sent to ministries or departments, okay, before they are laid before the parliament or the state legislature. Then the audit reports are there, okay. So the audit reports, once they get the approval of the CAG, so how the process is, there is an audit report created, then the CAG reviews that report, CAG approves that report, then the CAG that report is given to the President of India, who lays it before the parliament, okay, okay, or the government of the states, right? Or I mean, over here obviously for government it will be given to the governor for the states, right? That is how it goes. And then in parliament when there is a public account committee, okay, obviously in state also, that reviews, that takes up the audit report for examination. And PAC in this process, it is helped by CAG, okay. PAC is helped by CAG. Public account committee is helped by the Comptroller Auditor General, and Comptroller Auditor General acts as the friend, philosopher and guide of the public account committee, right? And for all the collection of all the evidence, PAC sees the suggestion of the CAG, okay. And on the basis of this the audit report, then the PAC frames its recommendations, okay. So PAC gives the recommendations. And on the basis of these recommendations, these are laid before both the houses of the parliament or the state legislature, right? Then government makes what is known as ATN, action taken notes, okay, on the recommendation of the PAC. And PAC finally prepares the final report, and then PAC prepares the final report, and it also considers the ATNs into it, okay. Action taken notes are also considered, and this way the final auditing is over, okay. And in India, the institution of CAG, okay, it only, as I told you, only audits, okay, it doesn't control it, okay. So that is how it goes. And then after this, in this background, now I would like to talk to you about one more important topic that is related to auditing only. Can CAG audit private companies? Okay. So there was a case regarding this. I will discuss about that. So what had happened that telecom companies actually, okay, I'll giving you the background, okay. So what happens in India, that there are telecom companies, right? And these telecom companies, they have to share some part of their annual revenue with the government, okay. Some percentage is fixed, okay. So what happened in 2009, the DOT, the Department of Telecommunication, it ordered the private auditors to check the account book of some telecom companies. And 2009, so DOT got the audit done of the private telecom companies, private company, and it was found that no, these auditors were selected by the CAG only, okay, and they found that there was some underreporting of revenue, so that they have to pay government less. So this was a big thing happening, so that they have to pay less license fee, spectrum fee, etc., etc. So what happened that in June 2012, this happened in June 2012, DOT, Department of Telecommunication, it issued to various companies like Airtel, Vodafone, Reliance and Tata, and asked them to pay at, a total of approximately 1600 crores amount was asked from them, okay. So all these companies, they went to the Telecom Dispute Settlement and Appellate Tribunal. So they went to the tribunal now. These companies over against this order. These companies lost the case, so they lost the case. Okay, so against when they lost the case, they went to Supreme Court. Supreme Court said go to Delhi High Court first. Delhi High Court, okay, they went to Supreme Court. Supreme Court said go to Delhi High Court, and Delhi High Court said that the DOT is right and you have to pay the money. CAG can audit. In Delhi High Court, they questioned, can CAG audit private company? It said yes, it can audit. Delhi High Court held this. Then company again goes to now the Supreme Court, and then this what happened? Supreme Court says that Delhi High Court is right. So Delhi High Court is vindicated over there. Okay. So what is Supreme Court held? So that is the flow of the whole thing. Okay, right? Now what is the Supreme Court held? It says that the natural resources, okay, for example, even the spectrum is a natural resource. Okay, so it says that the natural resources, they are of the people. They belong to the people of India. So whether it's a union state or local body or private entity, whatsoever, whosoever, if anybody is exploiting a natural resource, they have accountability to the people of India, and of course to the people and the Parliament of India. This is what the logic Supreme Court gave, right? And in natural resources, there is and this was the first argument Supreme Court gave. Second thing, they said because there is proliferation of so many PPPs, private public partnerships, right? And then there are revenue sharing agreements also. So there is sharing of revenue, there is a partnership, so obviously, there is public interest involved. And wherever there is public interest, it is the duty of the CAG to uphold the public interest, to protect the public interest. Then, CAG, when CAG does this audit of private companies, it is not under the Companies Act, okay? Right, that is why there cannot be restriction. Number 4, CAG is basically just checking whether the companies, they have paid the legitimate revenue or not. Okay, well, CAG is just simply checking the normal thing. How can you question him even whether they pay their due share or not? And every lawful, because see, every because every that loss that occurs is a loss to, it is a loss to the Consolidated Fund of India. So CAG is just checking this now. So obviously, because Consolidated Fund of India belongs to the people of India. And then it ordered Vodafone and Airtel to submit all the account record to the Comptroller and Auditor General. This is what they were saying. Okay, then these were the Supreme Court's argument, and this way it happened, right? And then the telephone companies, their arguments were lot of their arguments. Okay, they said that you cannot do this because by this logic, every company who's engaged in natural resources, the CAG can audit mining, power, ONG, highway, port, television, internet service provider. That way, the government can audit everything. That is not done. That if by this logic, everything can be audited by the CAG. Then regarding the Consolidated Fund of India, they said that on that logic, every company, their logic premise was this only, that everything can be audited. And under Article 149, they said private companies are not mentioned. That is what they are saying. Then they were saying we are not PSUs. How can you audit us? So such logic were given by them. Okay, and such things kept on happening, right? Now, earlier also, CAG has done some audits. Okay, for example, in power and regarding ONG, yeah, regarding ONG, there was one audit done by the CAG regarding the Reliance KG-D6 basin. Okay, KG-D6 basin. Even this, there was some fraud by the private sector. Then aviation is there. In 2005, there was a public partnership program for Delhi Airport, and CAG found that this project was given at throwaway prices to GMR. So regarding this, CAG also does In fact, CAG said there is a loss of approximately 1.6 lakh crores in this. This is what CAG said. Okay. Now, this might be just some other figure. I'm not sure about this, but there are huge losses. Okay, and then regarding spectrum, obviously CAG said that the Mr. Raja has done absolutely wrong thing over there. Okay, so that is how it went regarding the private sector, right? So and slowly, this. CAG, its jurisdiction has widened because of the Supreme Court judgment. Okay, now how is expanding, right? For example, CAG company impaneled, CAG impaneled the private sector that you have to check the under reporting and all that. So it expanded this way that even the natural resources, whatever it may be, the spectrum, the oil, the mineral, or whatever the natural resources they belong to the people of India. That is number one. Number two is, right, whenever union, state, local body, whatever is involved in the exploitation natural resources, they are accountable to the people via parliament. Okay. Number three is, although CAG doesn't have the power to audit private companies, okay, right, but under the Companies Act, okay, but this audit is not under the Companies Act. This is under the Constitution of India. And then when private sector is exploiting natural resources under PPP, revenue share agreement, their public interest is involved. Okay, therefore CAG can audit the private sector companies. This is the conclusion of this, that private sector can also be audited by the CAG in cases where the public interest is involved. Okay, now there are various kinds of audit. Okay, let's talk about them. I'll just write the name and speak rest of it. You will have to be listening to me very carefully. Okay, first of all, the nature of audit. Okay, nature of audit. Now see, the audit done by this CAG, right, it can be classified under various aspects. Okay, so what are those audits? Basically that's what I'm talking about, right? So it's just the same thing, right, kind. And so what is the number one thing is the it is known as the regulatory audit. Okay, regulatory audit. And what is the regulatory audit, or it's also known as the compliance audit, or it is also known as the financial audit, right? That's how it goes, right? So it's an audit to ascertain whether the money spent they were authorized for the purpose for which they were spent. Money was given to buy apples. Okay, you bought bananas for your children. This is wrong. CAG will say this is a wrong thing has happened. It's simple, right? Regulated the purpose for which money was given, it should be spent for that and not for this. It was for apples, not for bananas. Simple. Okay, the second is the proprietary audit. Let's talk about it. Proprietary audit. Okay, let's just write this much. Proprietary audit. What is this thing? Propriety means righteousness, or okay, let me just write righteousness, and it's related to morality. Okay, so it talks about morality of the course of action. Okay, moral quality of the course of action, right? So proprietary audit focuses on whether the expenditure that was made, it was in the public interest or not. And in fact, this is one of the justification also for the audit of the private sector, right? And it extends beyond like scrutinizing. It's not mere formality of expenditure, right? It also it is properly conducted, right? It is actually you can also call it value for money audit. Okay, value for money audit, right? Money was spent. It was spent for the purpose, but was it spent in proper manner? Was public interest served by it? You were given the money for the construction of a, let's say, rural bank, okay, and you spent the money on buying the you spent all the money in traveling over there on the taxis and all of going to rural bank. That is not acceptable. Okay, obviously, you hire a private taxi, you could have also gone in bus. So that kind of thing. Okay, then comes that is number two. Number three is the efficiency audit. Okay, right, just ignore the handwriting over there. I have to do it fast. Okay, so efficiency audit, I mean efficiency audit, under this what happens that the money, right, whatever the money is invested, it should give me the maximum output. That is all the efficiency audit is about. Okay, then there is number four is the performance audit. Pretty simple, right? It sees whether the government programs, they have achieved the desired objectives at the lowest cost or not. Okay, so this is for the government schemes, whether they have government schemes, objectives at lowest cost. Okay, lowest cost. That is how it is. Okay, now pretty simple, right? By far, I'll just write on the new page over here. We have done the regulatory audit, the proprietary audit, efficiency audit, performance audit, and then there is also environment audit. Okay, obviously it's very clear, the word itself speaking that whether the money spent was whether it took care of the environment, okay, or it has become recently common, right, because of that environmental awareness. Okay, so CAG is done for it for few projects. For example, environment audit was done for the Mumbai Port Trust. Okay, how much loss is occurring to the environment, and very soon in our budgeting also we are going to have account for this in environment audit. Okay, and then the tiger parks, for some tiger parks were also audited. So that is how it is done. Okay, and CAG actually it reported on the Mumbai Port Trust on this issue, and it showed that there was need to strengthen the environmental clearance process. Okay, which comes from the that environmental impact notification, right? Anyway, right, so environment audit, essentially they see if the expenditure on any project has damaged environmental resources more than unavoidable. Okay, so environmental audit also talks about the sustainability factor. So whenever you are writing answer on the environment, you can also talk about the environment audit over there, right? Then there is something called the internal audit. Okay, this is not related to CAG as such, right? Internal audit is nothing, it is just internal audit. My company, I do myself the audit. Okay, so it is defined as control of all controls, and is essential tool for like good governance. Okay. Okay, so what is happening in internal audit is that they look whether the issue, the orders of the higher authorities regarding the regulation orders. Okay, orders of higher authorities regarding the rules and the regulations and the procedures. Okay, and procedure and instruction, all that is being followed properly or not. Okay, and it's the primary responsibility of the management to have a proper internal audit, and they, once the internal audit is taken, you can take some effective proper action for its for modifying it. Okay, and this way CAG's audit become easy and more effective, right? And but in any way CAG has nothing to do with the internal audit. Okay, so these are things. Now there are but certain limitations on the power of the CAG which will actually make you think that what is happening. For example, the CAG in India, it is just a post facto thing, right? It doesn't happen. CAG cannot use its power before the happening of the fraud. It only after the something has happened. Okay, then the secret services expenditure, for example, all those intelligence related, and some police has also secret expenditure. The secret service expenditure, that is also not audited by the CAG, right? Then number 3, CAG audit is done as per the CAG Act. Okay, I told you that. Now when the CAG Act came at that time in 1971, the concept of PPP, public private partnership, was not really there. Okay, so CAP doesn't have the power to exactly audit the PPPs, but now after the Supreme Court judgment, it can actually audit even the private companies. Okay, because on the basis of the public interest is involved there, right? And then there was no NGOs at that time, and CAG even today, NGOs, local bodies, CAG cannot audit those. And CAG, though CAG can seek the directions and the permission of the governor of the state, okay, local institutions. For the local institution, the CAG can seek the permission of the governor, okay, of the state to audit the local bodies or Panchayati Raj institution. Normally it cannot. Okay, and the CAG does not have full authority. And you see why this is so, because all these local authorities that came, they came after the constitutional amendment which came after 1971, right? Now, but then that amendment also added few articles, 243J and 243Z, okay, of the constitution. You can see this if you want them, there's no need as such, right? They just lay down that parliament, state legislature may make law for the auditing of the panchayats, municipalities, okay, and but none of the states has, I don't know if any state has done this, right, made any law for this. In fact, most of the states, there is no audit by the CAG of relating to this. Okay, anyway, now finally, the last topic related to CAG is the separation of account, okay, from auditing. So at the present, the process formation of account, who makes the account, that is also made by the CAG, and who audits the account, that is also made by the CAG. So you can see there is kind of a clash of interest also, because you are judging yourself what you have made, right? You are making an account, there is a probability of some kind of corruption, biasness, intransparency. But at the same time, if the same person is doing the accounting, making the account, same person is auditing, there's a lot of saving of the money also, saving of money and saving of human resource, saving of time. So all considering all this factor, it was so, right? So they have been attempts to time to separate these two, but not so successful. Finally, It so happened that a scheme for separation of account was approved in 1975, and Parliament amended this Act of Comptroller and Auditor General Act in 1971 to relieve the CAG of the responsibility of making the account. Okay. But however, even today, in spite of the law, right, it still perform the account and audit function in each state. So this needs to be properly implemented. Okay, actually, it's this way. Please understand that if they are interrelated, that is why they are being done by the same person. If they are separated, there will be though there can be saving of money, human resource, or time. But then if they are separated, there would be higher efficiency. Number one, and number two, there would be specialization. So that will make it the process more effective, right? And finally, the last topic now is related to some news which appeared in February 2015 relating to the CAG's appointment. Okay, there was a CAG, right? His name is Shashikant Sharma, right? And his appointment was challenged in Supreme Court by the very eminent people of India, which including few senior election commissioner offices anyway, right? So in this Supreme Court held that we cannot interfere in every case wherever there is alarm, or we cannot meddle with constitutional appointments. Okay, because Supreme Court said that there is nothing wrong against the man, so we cannot meddle with the constitutional appointment. Number one, it was held in this case, right, by the Supreme Court, right? And number two, it said that because it is the executive prerogative, because it says, the Constitution says, the pleasure of the president. The pleasure of the president basically essentially is the executive prerogative. So it cannot be questioned that who executive appoints as the Comptroller and Auditor General of India. So, and court also declared to decline any set process for the appointment of CAG in India. So at present there is no set process for the appointment of CAG in India, right? That is all about the Union Executive. So that was all about today's lecture, and now just wanted to make two very important announcements. And the first thing is that I just wanted to thank you all whosoever you have shared my videos on various social media, on Facebook, Twitter, Google Plus, everywhere. Thank you so much from my heart, and it is my humble request that you please keep on sharing this video in future also. जिन्होंने आज तक नहीं share की, if you really like the video, it's my humble request, please share it with others. That gives me encouragement to make better videos and ज़्यादा videos, and I can cover ज़्यादा subject अगर आप इस video को share करते हैं. And second thing is that this is for your own benefit. If you really like these videos and you want that updates about the new videos should come into your mailbox, you can subscribe to us. You can see the subscribe button over here. You can click on us and videos will come right into your email box. आप हमें subscribe कर सकते हैं. अगर ऐसा करते हैं तो videos directly आपके mail box में आ जाएंगी. बस इतना ही कहना है. That is all, and thank you for watching the videos.